Welcome to the We Legit podcast, where expression of true self is appreciated. And I'm your host, Markee Carter. Welcome to another episode of the We Legit podcast. And once again, I am your host, Markee Carter. And I'm about to do a recap and get a little bit more descriptive from the first episode. When I did a lot of trades and working, I took a trade as an electrician. I learned graphic design in high school. I worked in retail and the security field while attending college until I attained my degree. Another thing, when I mentioned the influence of P. Diddy, it was in the early 2000s. He was doing a lot. He was running marathons, walkathons, getting blacks to vote. He was a good entrepreneur at that time. No one couldn't say they didn't want to be like Diddy at that particular time. And another reintroduction of when I started the website, it was May of 2023, along with my social medias. And also, I had gained I gained a lot of popularity, small little popularity in Dallas. And then I seen that I could push it a whole lot further going to Nashville, Tennessee. So I made that transition late of 2023, and it's been very successful all the way up to now. And now let's get into today's episode. Today's episode will give a description of me coming into the world during the year 1988. I was born in March, spring, early a.m. in the city of Long Beach, California. I came home to a mother that was a senior in high school and a hustler father that was well known in the city at this time. When being released to a general hospital, my first address was 11th and Martin Luther King in Long Beach, California, in which it was known at that time as Bedrock. The reason for the name is from what I was told from multiple people that was in that era. A lot of crack selling, dope dealing, gang activity, just a whole lot of everything going on. Not in that particular area, but just this particular location. A lot of influx of people from Los Angeles area mingling into Long Beach was caused a lot of street wars, a lot of murder, and a whole lot of chaos. And in a sense, put Long Beach on the map. Before I was born, it was a well-known concert to where a lot of gang fights happened, a couple murders, and a variety of violence, which made Long Beach no longer to have a hip-hop concert in the history from those particular early years before I was born. And from those that were around at that time, they will know what I'm talking about. Moving along, coming in, I was my mother's first child, the first everything. So everybody wanted to spend so much time with me and all this other stuff, dress me up, and pretty much just enjoying the love and the warmth from everybody. But being around so much of females that my uncles was seeing it from a distance that I was spending too much time with the women, and they didn't want to turn out to be me being not manly at this time. So they came into the picture. My uncle, I would call him RP, and my uncle RJ on my mother's side. They came in, they got me into the sports. My favorite sport of all that they introduced me to was football. But basketball, baseball was the main three. Baseball is only interesting to me is around playoff time. But they introduced me to liking the Raiders, the Lake Show, aka the Lakers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, USC football, and UCLA basketball, which I'm still a fan of today. And with the introduction of my uncles, They were the male figures in my early years. One passed away late 2003. They gave me the history of the Raiders, the Lakers, and USC football the most. When I came into the world until currently, that was the last time the LA Dodgers had won the World Series. And with their influence, they taught me how to stand your ground, stay on your own, don't take lip from anybody, stay in school, and not to be influenced by the heavy gang culture in the Long Beach area and the greater LA area. I was given history of their upbringing because they came out of Nickerson Garden projects and they witnessed the 65 Watts riot and the 1992 Watts riot. Well, LA riots. So they have a good bit of LA history that they fed to me little by little as time was going on. And me being so young, not knowing too much of what they're telling me, I was taking it in, but I have a strong mind to put things on the back burner, but it's still in my mind because everything they had taught me and told me turned out to be true as years to come. And with their influence, it kept me grounded and well known and knowledgeable on a lot of different things to where a lot of people in my age bracket got caught up so young. I knew how to not necessarily escape, but I'm just good at vary on the decision making. And as far as my father, he was in and out. I don't really have too many memories of him, but he was gone in 94 due to catching a life sentence, which led to my mom being a single parent and taking care of 3 children on her own. She made everything possible, took care of us the best way that she could, and I'm very grateful for that to this day. Back at it again, coming into the early stages of life. As time was going on in the early 90s, me coming of age, learning little by little, the Uncle RP would pick me up every day after school and would take me down to the beach and ride the bike trails. Consistent quality time being spent enjoying the sunshine of sunny California. And at these early years, I was in elementary school, big wrestling fan at this time, loving sports, and a sister of mine came into the picture in early 1990. At this time, the family was very good, spent a lot of time with one another, hung out drastically. I remember the elders playing spades and hearts, old school music being played, while I get to play the Nintendo. Growing up in Long Beach, California, to me, was a lot of fun. Even though they had a heavy gang presence, but besides that, it was always something to do. Never bored. You can go to the beach whenever you feel like it. Variety of different things. And I even participated in football activities at the park. And not so much basketball, but I played basketball in my free time. Then the only racism I had faced that I can recall was when me and my mom went to Signal Hill Park. And there was a white kid that kept messing with me. Ended up having a little scuffle. And that was the only racial experience I can remember in these early years. Elementary school, decent student, very respectful, and I got along with everybody. I just have that personality. Very diverse. Went to school with all nationalities in elementary school. So being around different nationality people wouldn't bother me as much. And then fast forward to junior high, that's when I became into my own and started recognizing things I like to do and hanging with a whole lot more different crowds of people, but nothing too bad, nothing too serious. Still playing sports, still hanging with my uncle and gaining all this knowledge about how things was before I came into the world. Very interesting stuff. As a junior high years, it's the years of finding yourself, learning the good and the bad, the ugly, knowing what you can tolerate, knowing what you can't tolerate. You kind of get a sense of who you're going to become or be at this time. Me, I was all about sports, football, running, just being an all around athlete. Grades is all off and on, but I wasn't too distracted. Then came the 8th grade. Tried to do the football thing. Didn't really work out. So I just stayed in the books and learned what I could learn and figured I get a decent job when I get older and things are going to be all right. But it didn't really turn out too well because when I was in the 8th grade, I did a lot of moving from Long Beach to the Valley back and forth, a lot of back and forth, back and forth. And then I established in the Long Beach area. When I graduated the 8th grade, going into high school, the 9th grade year was a little crucial because a lot of peer pressure, a lot of not listening to relatives, listening to friends. It was a whole lot of, I won't say chaos, but it was just a whole lot of, they didn't really trust me or anything like that. Grade slipped. A lot of ditching. Not reporting to class in the school, but just not reporting to class. Just all the way around, just not being who I truly am. So I was shipped to the Valley. And in hindsight, I was very upset that they shipped me to the Valley. But as I had grew older and came back to the Long Beach area, I went back and forth all the time. But when I came back and stayed in 2005, that's when I seen the turnout of a lot of people that I knew, and I seen they turnout, and I seen my turnout, and I would like to thank my family for making that decision for me because it would have been a totally different situation. I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't have ever thought about starting this business. The whole turnout would have, it would have, how can I put it? There's no telling where it would have went. But I'm very grateful for that, for them, and for that to this day. Coming into the high school years was a good thing. 4 more years, so I'm a grown man, doing the football thing, playing sports, doing the school thing, but nothing's really piquing my interest, just football. Ran into a real good friend of mine named David. Spent a lot of time with him. Learned a lot from him. And became one of my closest, dearest friends still to this day. As I said in the previous episode, me and him had plans of doing the football thing, but it didn't really pan out. We wanted to start a rap label, but we had no knowledge, no recollection, no way of knowing how to put it all together and do and make it happen. Trials and tribulation, as I said in the previous episode, on both ends. He moved away, I moved away, and we wouldn't come into contact until, say, we about in our 20s, early 20s. And high school for me wasn't too bad, learning a whole lot of stuff. It just became in my junior year, an incident had happened, and I was forced to move back to the Long Beach area, which I stayed for a good period of my life. and graduated high school from Long Beach, Jordan, Panther. And after high school, I got into working at a grocery store. My senior year, I worked at a grocery store named Vons in downtown Long Beach. I transitioned from Vons to working real estate. Working real estate as a loan officer got me to have my own place at 18. And being that I'm young, I had to learn how to balance finances and not blow all my money. I had to be very responsible because being the oldest, as my sister recollected to me recently, I was very responsible in every age I was in. So she seen that from a distance, which gives me a smile on my face because I didn't really know that people was actually paying attention. And then as I became into an adult, I started learning that people are not who they say they are. And I just didn't know how to handle dealing with that kind of information. Didn't know how to tolerate it, didn't know how to handle it. So I just took it for what it is. Learning real estate, learning retail taught me how to interact and deal with people. And I had a good run in the real estate game until in '07 that recession had hit, which knocked me down back into retail and me going to a trade school to learn to become an electrician. After having your own, it's kind of hard to live with people because you got to go by their rules, go with their program, and overall it just bothers me. It just really bothers me. So a lot of sacrificing from 18, I say, to 25. A lot of sacrificing of putting up other people's BS, going along with other people's programs, living wise, and difficult to juggle all these different things, and then attending college at the same time. And in my early 20s, I went through the basic of learning how the world is, learning how people are, and then you got to learn how to navigate and have your emotions in check and your anger in check. Because a lot of my peers went to the penal system not learning them traits. Not learning them traits. And by them not learning them traits, it helped me learn to decision making. Watch who you're around, who you hang with, what area you in, and always be alert at all costs. And with learning that from a distance and hearing it from people's experiences, I ended up finishing college, graduated with a bachelor's in criminology, ended up getting in the career field and also doing security at the same time. But in that lifespan, I met a lot of people in college, in my 20s, and I'm still friends with to this day. Not daily communication, but we still keep in touch at a distance. And after learning what I learned in my 20s, going into my mid to late 20s, I was very mature for my age. And I'm learning how to navigate, learn how to spend money, watch money, and overall just try to stay above water. And then in the back of my mind, I was just getting tired of like the same thing every day. California, Los Angeles, everything. I want to spread my wings and go elsewhere. And then I got a message on Facebook from a relative from Nashville, Tennessee. But she was currently in Dallas at this time. She came to Long Beach, California. She gave me all the history of the family, the background, and from her point of view, and how everything came about in the history, which piqued my interest. And when I graduated college, it wasn't too many jobs available. So I decided to move down to Texas, Dallas, Texas. I visited Vegas. I visited Phoenix. It was cool, but I just couldn't catch the vibe there. But when I went to Texas, there's a way totally different vibe. That's something that I really like. I loved it there. Maintained a good amount of friends I still have to this day. It was on the start of a journey that turned into what it is today. And this will conclude today's episode. Keep on the lookout for the We Legit podcast. Future guests are going to come and be interviewed on the podcast. Be on the lookout for more merch at www.welegitclothing.com. Be on the lookout on my articles and follow me on social media at We Legit Clothing or We Legit 16. Hope this influence a lot of y'all into the youth. Doesn't matter what you're going through right now. As long as you stay focused on what it is that you want to do, it will always get better. Until next time. We hope you found this episode helpful. We love to hear your thoughts. Share your favorite takeaways on social media using hashtag WeLegitClothing. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast to help others discover us. Until next time.